So I'm excited to begin this new series from the 23rd Psalm. You're familiar with that, right? Most likely because arguably it's the most consistently read passage in the entire Bible. Oh, the funeral psalm, right? Anyone else think of it that way? Because most funerals do, in fact, have this psalm read because its words are so comforting and soothing at a time of loss. But here's the deal. In this series, I want us to learn something else from this psalm. Not just its ability to comfort and soothe at time of death, but also its ability to strengthen and encourage us in times of fear and doubt. Because those are the emotions we've been living with for several years now. Fear and doubt that the unrest and divide in our country will just continue to grow worse, not better. Fear and doubt that our economy will not fully rebound, that a financial collapse is imminent, and many other things. So this 5-week study in the 23rd Psalm will help us with every single one of our fears, I promise you. Because this is one of those passages that as you read it and understand it, it sort of just goes from your head into your heart. It gets down in you. And the more we get this in us, the more we will move those fears out of us. And how many of you know that will be a blessing? Well, let's jump in here right now and talk about this very first verse. Verse 1 says, "The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want." Now, what a perfect description of our Savior, Jesus. Because when Jesus came, He in fact said this about Himself in John 10. "I am the good shepherd who lays down His life for His sheep." Now think about that. Whatever it takes, you have a shepherd that will always take care of you. So let me show you how this works from a practical standpoint. I want you to write down the most urgent and pressing need that you have right now, or needs. Or if you can't write them down where you are, just be thinking about what are your most pressing needs. And did you know that in reality there are basically only a handful of life problems or crisis areas? And no doubt what you just wrote down or what you're thinking about will fall under one or more of these categories. For instance, let me give you 3 of them. The first one is confusion. I heard about a little boy in Sunday school class who told the class that he knew where God lived. Yeah, we knew too. He lives in heaven. Well, not all the time, because in the morning when my teenage sister is taking too long in the bathroom, my dad always bangs on the door and says, "Good Lord, are you still in there?" Cute, right? But not really the confusion I'm thinking of. I'm thinking more of the confusion we have at times over who am I? Why am I here? Where am I headed? Or even, why is all this happening to me? You've been there probably. Well, here's the good news. The Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians 14, God is not the originator of confusion, but always offers peace. By the way, because of their nature, confusion is dangerous and actually an enemy of the sheep. So part of the shepherd's job is to keep his flock confident and assured. For a lot of reasons, but primarily, if he doesn't do that, they won't sheep very well at night. Get it? Sheep well? Everyone say, "Pastor, that was bad." I get it. I'm on a roll. Anyway, that is one reason you will always observe a shepherd out in front of the sheep, leading the sheep. Because those sheep know that the shepherd knows where he's headed. And if he knows where he's headed, the sheep know where they are headed. The same holds true for us. Because the Lord who is our shepherd is always out front leading, answering questions, providing wisdom, guiding us every step of the way. All right, number 2. Not only the problem of confusion, but also the problem of worry. Which is why your doctor is always telling you to avoid stress. That stress is unhealthy. That it leads to and exacerbates disease, right? And interestingly enough, we are the only make and model of God's creation that worries. Plants don't worry. Animals don't worry. We are the only ones who worry. And get this, the Old English definition of worry means to choke or strangle, which is exactly what worry does to us, doesn't it? It strangles the joy and the hope and the abundant life right out of us. Incidentally, you know, don't you, that worry is basically a learned behavior? We weren't born worrying. We had to learn how to do that. But the good news is that we can unlearn that behavior as well. And the way you do that is simple. It involves two basic things. The first one is just a common sense thing. When your brain starts to get attached to something that you have no certainty or control over, why not just say to yourself, you know what? This is like throwing away my life. And I don't want to throw away my life. I mean, life's too short. So why should I waste so much of it worrying about something over which I really have no control? And then the second thing you do is spend time in the presence of your shepherd. Read through these Psalms and pray. And I don't mean praying like, now I lay me down to sleep or rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub. Not those kind of prayers, but rather the more serious kind of prayer. The kind where you just bare your soul to the shepherd. Where you just lay it all out before him. And then you wait and you meditate and you just listen as he responds back to your prayers. Which is no doubt why Paul wrote in Philippians 4, don't worry about anything. Instead, with thanksgiving, pray about everything. Now, someone might say, whoa there, Pastor, wait a minute. There are some things happening in my life right now that I can't help but worry about. I mean, I am really concerned. Well, I get that, and I understand that. But remember, concern and worry are two different things. To be concerned is normal. That's natural. We all should be concerned about our family and health, our finances, our future, our nation. Absolutely. And genuine concern should always lead me to evaluate the situation, to look for solutions, to make plans, and to seek counsel. Worry, on the other hand, is obsession. And in this case, it is obsessing over your concern. And that's where we get into trouble. So while one of the most difficult admonitions in all the Bible is the first part of this verse that I just read, don't worry about anything, one of the most profitable admonitions is the second part of the verse that Paul said, pray about everything. Because when we do more of the second part of the verse, there will be less of the first part, the worry part. So God says, don't worry about it, but if you do, pray. And watch this. Watch what happens after you pray about your worries. In verse 7 of Philippians 4, Paul says, and the peace of God, which is far more wonderful than the human mind can understand, His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. Now, isn't that great? I mean, who doesn't want an unexplainable peace all over them, right? So when the Lord is your shepherd, we shall not want, we shall not have lack, because He will provide for our confusion, He will provide for our worry, and lastly, He will provide for our fear, which goes hand in glove with worry, doesn't it? Now, this 23rd Psalm opens with the words, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The literal translation is this, because the Lord is my shepherd, I shall never be in want. I shall never lack. And when you think about it, most of our fears are intertwined and enmeshed with that word lack, or the idea of being in want, of not having enough. Would you agree? We fear losing. We fear losing our job. We fear losing a loved one, losing a relationship, losing our money, losing our health, whatever. And yet what God presents to us is not a sense of scarcity, but rather something that we would call abundance. So if our problem is scarcity and a lack mentality, God's solution is abundant provision for all of our needs. Well, so what do, Pastor? How do I get from this fear of running out, this fear of losing, to a place of trusting God to be my shepherd? Let me give you a good place to start. Begin by reading and meditating on the promises of God until that promise becomes real to you. That means when you read a promise where God assures you that He will provide, even when you cannot see it happening with your eyes, you go right on believing that and standing on that promise. Like our study today, this verse 1 today. When you read that because Jesus is your shepherd, you will never have to live with lack. Hey, camp out on that promise. Refuse to give up on it. Why? Because God is faithful to His promises. And I know that's not always easy. I mean, sometimes you're like the three little pigs skipping down the street singing, "Who's afraid of the big bad wolf," right? And then the very next day, when the wolf begins to come along and huff and puff and tries to blow down the house of your life, well, that's an altogether different deal. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Keep remembering that God, your shepherd, is faithful and that His word to you will never come back void, because faith in God will also result in fear being gone. Now, one last thing before I close. I want you to look at two verses from 1 John chapter 4. The first one is 1 John chapter 4, verse 7, that says, God is love. The second one, verse 18, says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. So here's the deal. If you truly want to be free from worry and fear, from confusion about where you're headed in life, from whether you're going to lack anything, learn to rely on and learn to rest in your shepherd. Talk with Him. Read His promises often. Read them until they become your promises. And as you do, very soon, you will sense the cloud being lifted and your fears being scattered to the four winds. Rest in Him, rely on Him, trust in Him, and you will discover always that He is there and that He has you. And because of that, fear cannot overwhelm you. All right, I'm going to close with that right there, and we will pick up this study with verse 2 next week. Why don't you read it, kind of get prepared emotionally and mentally and spiritually, and then we'll meet back here again in a week. I hope you have a great week, by the way. If I can help you or answer any questions you have or maybe pray for you about something, you can contact me on our website, newdaychurchbrandon.org, or you can PM me on any of the social media sites. I'm on all of those. Or you can just send me a personal email, mhailey777@gmail. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. God bless you. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.